Travel Ones podcast. I'm looking at Beaux Jenkins. How are you today, Beaux?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
And I appreciate the time, brother. Country singer, songwriter. You had a new album just came out last month,
Yeah,
and
I got I dropped an album. It's the Bootleg Sessions. It came out last Wednesday.
Yeah,
on the 21st, I think.
So you got a lot of music coming up.
I do. I've held off for quite a few years putting this stuff out, and then finally I just took the plunge and I put two of them out back to back, and then I've got one more that I'm working on that I'm about to put out.
Busy.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. What states do you travel to right now for music mainly? I would say.
A lot in Oklahoma. I've been going back and forth to Texas and Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, pretty much.
Okay, but you played Nashville. You've hit.
Yeah, Nashville was a cool scene, except for it was like an eye opener because there's 50,000 other dudes just like me out there. So yeah. It was tough out there.
I went to Nashville. Well, I opened up the Boot Barn in Chattanooga, and I stopped in Nashville, and then I've been back twice since. And Broadway's an interesting for music. I don't know any other place that's like that. Where at 10 in the morning on a Sunday, you can walk down a street, and literally in the same building hear three different bands playing live in the same building on three different floors. And it's not all country. It's a little Southern rock, and it's a lot of cover bands. So
yeah, I will say this: a lot of them street performers are quite a bit better than some of them guys inside playing. I'm just saying.
No, dude, we at the hotel we stayed at in November or December, there was a bar inside the hotel that had a live music guy, and then on the bottom floor, it had a full restaurant with a full stage and another couple groups playing at the same time. And this isn't just in a hotel. This isn't even on Broadway. Yeah. And they were good. They were good. I haven't heard any hacks, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you want to test yourself, that's the place to go because that's going to make you or break you.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Because it really, like I said, it opened my eyes to where, I thought I was pretty good. And then I was like, man, these guys are amazing,
I know, that's what I was thinking. Like I said, I was there, and I'm like, I figured you'd hear some people playing okay. Like if I go to Vegas and I go off strip, there are a lot of people performing and this and that, and some are okay. And, man, everybody in Broadway, I was just like, wow, that girl can sing. Oh, my God, look at that guy playing the guitar. And that, like every place we went into, we were kind of, the restaurant the last night, our waiter was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a musician. I play when I'm not working." And I checked out, and he was really good. I'm like, "This is my waiter." It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's tough.
So what makes you keep doing it?
Because
there's not really 50,000 other guys as good as you out there.
No, I don't know. It's just it's been a passion. It's been a passion of mine since I was, I don't know, about 16, I guess. I've always, enjoyed playing. And my grandfather's the one that really got me into music. I was 14 years old, and he bought me a guitar. I didn't know I had no interest at that time in my life, play music. I was playing football, and I had a couple college offers, and lo and behold, I got hurt my senior year. And when I was rehabbing, I took that guitar with me, and I learned how to play guitar while I was rehabbing my hip back. And after that, I just wanted to play music. Like I caught my niche,
Yeah. Well, so you're an overnight success, right?
I don't know about that. But I don't know about that. I will say this: I've never had a lesson. I'm self-taught, and I learned how to play by ear. And there's a lot of these younger guys out there, like a lot of my buddies' kids, like they're always like, "Hey, we give me lessons." And I'm like, man,
I can't give that.
You got so much more capability of learning off of somebody better than me. Like I didn't have YouTube and stuff like that to learn, and like these younger kids do. And I tell them just, go watch that, and I'll show them simple little things, but I tell them they need to learn from somebody better.
Well, it's just, to be honest with you, my podcasting I learned off YouTube. I'm just a sales guy, and I wanted to create this thing, and it's like, man, I don't know anything about editing. I got people calling me up, hey, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know, because I'm kind of like you. It's like I just kind of did what felt right.
Right. Yeah.
What are the changes you've seen in the music industry over the last decade or so? And I ask that because you brought up YouTube and all that. I mean,
yeah,
the idea of exposure for an artist can happen almost overnight if you get lucky and you go viral or whatever.
So, like, my real opinion, I'll give you my real opinion. And
don't lie to me.
No. So, man, I think a lot of the grind is gone. I was just talking about this Friday night after a show I played. Just a couple years ago, you were having to take demos to these bars and a packet for them to look at you to see if you were good enough to play at that bar, and so I can't tell you how many, like I would be playing somewhere and I would find other bars and I would drop off demos with them, and that's how I would land my next gigs when I was on the road traveling. And but now you got YouTube, you got SoundCloud,
Spotify,
DistroKid. Like, man, these people have even TikTok. There's a lot of people getting big off of TikTok, and the game's changed. It's a lot easier. I just wish that some of these dudes and ladies, I shouldn't say dudes, but I just wish some of these people would have to know what like the grind was, because it's like some of them
they just won't though, man. They just won't. I mean, I talk to young salespeople, right? I'm in my 50s, right? So I've been selling for 30 plus years before cell phones. And I tell the young guys, that are my daughter's age, and I'm like, dude, what would you do if you got thrown into a city and you had to find out where to go? Like, you'd buy a map. And they'd be like,
yeah,
buy a map? I'm like, yeah, dude, we had map books.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find G6 and then go find the address. And then, they no idea,
Yeah.
And if I had to go 300 miles, I couldn't. Now, man, I plug it in and it goes, oh, there's an accident right here. You might want to reroute around here to save you time. And dude, it wasn't like that. And like if you were running an hour late, you sound real familiar, you sound familiar to what I say to my friends, because I'm like, you guys have no idea. It's like, yeah, I would be late for an appointment because of traffic that I didn't know about because you couldn't hear about it, and then I'd have to get off the freeway, find a payphone, use my calling card to call my customer to let them know I'm running late, and I don't know exactly how late I'm going to be because I don't know how big the traffic accident is. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, now I can just text them saying, hey, I'm running 25 minutes late. It says I'll be there at 10, It's easy. So,
man, cell phones are nice nowadays,
Imagine
travel.
It in. I talked to a musician. He was getting ready to go over to Europe, and I said, and he was my age, and so he'd been a musician, a full-time musician his entire life, never had another job. That means he hustled. He was on the road 280 days a year.
Yeah.
No kids, not married. And I said, do you remember when you used to go to Europe without a cell phone? Like, how would you book a hotel room in Germany if you didn't speak the language? You couldn't. Dude, he goes, now that we're talking, it's like thinking about those times. It's like, I would not want to go back to that.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it was a hustle for sure.
Yeah. And I think that the grind is just going to be a different grind now.
Yeah. And I am not computer friendly, so sometimes I have to call on my manager, and I'll have to have her walk me through stuff because I don't know how to do some of this stuff,
Hey, my entire show got started because of my daughter. I'm like, hey, I need to. What do I use to record? What do I use to edit? How do I produce it? How do I get a website? I didn't know that. But I listened to a guy. He said that he goes, you didn't know how to drive a car at one time, right? but you figured it out because you wanted to
Yeah.
drive. You know, so if you wanted to figure it out bad enough, you'd figure it out. I always tell my friend, he's a team roper, right? I mean, and if I don't know if you've ever thrown a rope, but to be a really proficient team roper, you're throwing thousands of loops,
Right.
thousands, over and over on the dummies, right? And I was typing one day, and he goes, "Man, you type really good." And he goes, "Man, I wish I could type that good." I said, "No, you don't." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Dude, if you wanted to type that good, you would practice typing like you practice roping."
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Oh man, I hate when you say that stuff."
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point, though.
You know,
It's a good point.
we can figure it out. I mean, that's the benefit of I hope wisdom and age is the ability to go. I can figure it out. If that dumb kid can figure it out, I can figure it out.
Yeah, for sure, for real. But some of these, man, I will tell you, like at the studios now, like the studios are all digital.
Yep.
And the last time I recorded, it was all on like an iPad. And that's all the controls. I was like, are you kidding me? You know, like he still had a board, but he's like, oh, I don't even use that no more.
Yeah.
All right.
There's if you ever get a chance to watch a documentary called Sound City, it's on Netflix or YouTube. It's free. Dave Grohl from Nirvana and Foo Fighters bought the board that they recorded the Nirvana album on because the studio was called Sound City and they were going out of business. So they were going to sell the board, and Dave bought it and put it in his house.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was pretty interesting to hear because like how just the difference of playing on tape versus being Pro Tools and editing it out.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could sound good on a Pro Tools.
I know. And now some of these people, they got auto tune and stuff. So like you'll hear them on a track and like all the real good, and then you hear them live. You're like, man, these guys can't sing.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple bands I've been to, like Ex Ambassadors, more of a pop band. He was phenomenal. He goes up into a falsetto, and it was like he hit all the notes, like it wasn't auto tune.
Yeah.
And Linkin Park I saw with Chester. And
they're pretty good. Yeah.
He was great live. So. Go ahead, brother.
So that's you said Linkin Park. What's funny is like growing up, I never even listened to country music. Like I was into like Green Day, Offspring, Nirvana, the Butthole Surfers.
Yeah.
My grandpa, he was a big influence on me. I listened to like a lot of B.B. King and Elvis. You know, I never really listened to country, and when I started playing, I just never could. I didn't have that voice for that genre of music. So I found my niche in bluegrass, and I played bluegrass for a minute, and then I switched over to red dirt country, what's really big in like Texas and Oklahoma, and that's where it hit for me, you know. So, and everybody, they can't believe that, you know, I used to be a punk rocker. I said, man, I loved it, you know.
Yeah,
I did. I love that style of music.
I think it's interesting because I've met a couple of bands that back up lead singers, you know, big guys. And most of them are rock people. Like a lot of them didn't grow up. They didn't grow up playing country music. They grew up playing rock music, and then they became. I outfitted a band. They were getting ready to play. They were going to open up for Toby Keith, the singer was, and so the band were all rock guys. They all had Converse, and you know, so they came into our warehouse, and I had to get them cowboy boots and all that because they were opening up for Toby. It was pretty funny seeing these guys. I still talk to them. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's even a bunch of like the big name country singers, you know, like back in the day. Well, like Conway Twitty, he wanted to play like rockabilly. Yeah. And it wouldn't work. And so he went over to country, and then that's where it worked. I want to say that I think David Allan Coe was the same too. I think he started off with like rock and roll, and Johnny Paycheck, you know, and then they fell into country music because that's where it paid off for them, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty accurate for a lot of people. You know, it's like you want to play music, and you got to go where it's working.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't really think that's being called a sellout. You got to make your money too, like everybody else. So
heck yeah. Well, you know, I was going to ask you, You play? Do you mainly play just by yourself with the guitar, or do you ever travel with a band?
I have a band. Whenever I need like a rodeo, a chuck wagon race, or a real honky tonk in like Texas or Oklahoma, I'll take them. We're actually called Arkansas, and it's ARKANSAW instead of SAS. Make it actually sound Arkansas, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, but a majority of the time I'm solo, and I enjoy it. The road trips are terrible because I got nobody to talk to, but it is what it is.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
That's where the satellite radio really helps me out when I travel.
Yeah.
I don't have to.
I've fallen into a lot of podcasts. Like I like Joe Rogan a lot, and I'll just turn on his stuff and I'll just kind of listen to it. And Theo Vaughn, I really like Theo Vaughn's podcast. He's pretty funny.
I met both those guys, and I met Theo in Denver. It was really random. He was at the Improv there, and it was before he was big. And so after the show, he was just signing autographs out in the lobby, and I was there for work because that's where my company's based out of. Super nice guy, just super chill. You know, and Joe's really nice too. I met him a couple times, but
Theo, he's a Louisiana boy, you know.
Oh yeah. His accent used to be a lot thicker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can tell it's fading off, you know. But
yeah. And now I wonder if Joe's going to get the Texas draw now that he's down in Austin.
No, you never know. You never know.
You know,
but
yeah, and the podcast are. You know, I don't listen to as many now because I'm kind of doing my own, but it's interesting because it's kind of like country. It's like music, right? I mean, you could have you heard that Warren Ziegler? He's out of Massachusetts or somewhere. He's a country singer.
He's got like Ride the Lightning.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. That's all from TikTok.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But that's all from TikTok.
Yeah.
You know? And so the mainstream media, you know, whether it was, you know, when I started even 3+ years ago and even further back, no one took podcasters seriously. It's like, oh, you're just a pod. Now, everyone's got a podcast, you know? So now it's kind of like TikTok fame, right? I mean.
Yeah, and I don't see how, I mean, man, some of them guys on TikTok are like an overnight sensation. It just one hit and boom, they blew up, you know. There's another cat too. He's from Kentucky. I can't think of his name now to save my life. But he's on the road with John Party now.
Yeah.
He got famous off of TikTok.
Never know, man.
Well, I still think them boys need to beat the streets going bar to bar. You
got to know he was beating the streets. I mean, it's like Chris Stapleton, right? Winning New Artist of the Year. It's like, come on. Mm-hmm. 20 plus years later, he's a new artist. All right.
Well, that's what. So I've listened to the Still Drivers since like 1998, right? And that was who Chris Stapleton came from, was the Still Drivers. And when he went solo and hit the radios, you know, my friends are like, oh man, listen to this guy. And I said, that's Chris Stapleton from the Still Drivers. I said, I've known about him for years, you know. And then it was like, nobody knew who the Still Drivers were if you weren't like in that bluegrass circle, right? And then once Chris Stapleton hit, it's like everybody started finding out about the Still Drivers, because to me, it seemed like the Still Drivers got big all of a sudden, when before, if you weren't in that bluegrass circle, you know, you wouldn't know who they were.
It's interesting because like I just played the original, the George Jones version of Tennessee Whiskey for my wife.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, she goes, this sounds familiar, but I go, listen to the lyrics. And she's like, oh my God, it's Tennessee Whiskey. Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing, right? It's like Tennessee Whiskey's been around for 40 years, but just one different iteration of it, and it becomes a worldwide hit. And I'm sure George Jones's family is really happy about it.
Yeah, you know, I liked George Jones. You know, I probably started listening to a lot of older country, I guess, when I hit about 22, 23, I guess, you know. And White Lightning was probably my first song by George Jones. And I was like, man, who is this cat? And so I started listening to a little bit more. And man, The Race Is On by George Jones is probably my favorite. And then when I started, there's been so many other people. Sawyer Brown and them did The Race Is On, and Charlie Crockett from Texas. So it just takes, maybe I need to do somebody else's song and then make it big,
Hey, it worked for Chris.
Yeah.
And then some, right? But I mean, like if you listen to those two songs, the exact same lyrics, but they sound completely different.
Oh yeah, totally different.
I mean, the runs and everything that Chris does on the guitar and all that. That's kind of where it reminded me. Watching you play the guitar, it kind of reminded me of that kind of. You don't have the runs and all that, but you have that singer-songwriter kind of vibe.
Yeah, I really. So the first song I ever wrote is called Crooked Creek Blues, and it's on that album called City Lights, and it's a true story. When I was a kid, I almost drowned on the creek that runs through our hometown. Real bad rain come, and my best friend and we thought we could go fishing, and I got swept away by a log, and I about got killed. But I really started listening to like Robert Earl King and Hayes Carl and Todd Snyder. Like, them guys are amazing Americana songwriters. Like, they're kind of in that folk Americana category. And I started listening to a lot of them, and then I just tried to replicate like their style of writing to like my music, because I was really digging them, So, and that's hard for me. Like, and that's not like, people are like, well, what style do you play? And I'm like, I don't know. Americana.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
I don't know. Like, when I have my band, it's Red Dirt, because I got that full sound, And, but when I'm by myself, it's just like that Americana, kind of like Tyler Childers a little bit, when he doesn't, so that's hard for me to categorize myself, because I don't know where I fall in,
Well, and I think just off some of the songs I've heard, you're definitely a singer-songwriter,
Yeah.
I mean, so you could start with that, but I think it almost helps you if you can approach different. Like I just talked to a reggae singer, and he was influenced by ska and by some of the older reggae stuff and some of the new I mean, we're all influenced by different things. You just do whatever you feel comfortable doing.
Yeah, and I have noticed that like some of these songs that I've got that are in the studio right now that haven't came out, they've got a 50s sound to them. And my buddy, he's like, how did you write these? I said, man, I was listening to a bunch of 50s songs before I started writing. I said, I guess it just intertwined in my mind, So I don't know. I try to not copy anybody, but there's so many songs out there, and like there's so many riffs that have already been written, because sometimes I will play a song and my buddy will be like, oh, that sounds like so and so, but it's hard not to copy somebody.
I was gonna say the same thing. It's like, how do you listen to different music and then not copy them?
Yeah,
at least even just subconsciously. There's only so many notes that a guitar can play, right?
Yeah.
There's only so many chords.
Yeah.
So but I mean, how many chords are out there that haven't been played before?
Shoot, I think every single one of them,
Right. So I mean, it's just a matter of how you put them together, and
yeah, it kind of goes back, I guess, to I guess it was Vanilla Ice and the Police on that beat controversy. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is.
Well, I mean, that goes. You're right, though. I mean, that's kind of what I just watched a documentary on Rick James, and MC Hammer copied his Super Freak song and took the exact beat and made it more famous. He goes, I made more money from the MC Hammer version than I did from my own version.
Yeah.
Yeah. But obviously, a lot of the rappers were always influenced by other people's music. We do that all the time when we hear a song. I'm like, oh, that's the original. And
yeah.
Oh my God. My daughters freak out, and I go, no, that's not the original. Here's the original.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's influenced by everything.
Yeah, and you can't. And I think what really helps me too is like I do listen to other genres than just the style I play.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you go through my Apple Music, you're gonna find Social Distortion to Sublime to Chris Stapleton. Like they're just all mixed in there. I enjoy everything. I've kind of fell into this rapper from Texas. His name's Riff Raff. He's pretty funny. Like I'm kind of digging his music. He's
out there.
He's wild, but I like him. He's good.
Well, there's like Mac Miller and some of the Post Malone's a really good musician.
Oh yeah, and Post Malone, he can play the guitar. Really good.
That's what I'm saying.
He's from Texas,
Yeah. So it's interesting that rapper, like country just didn't work out for him. So he grew up in Texas playing guitar, but country music didn't work out for him. So, he found out what does, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah. And I think that's just part of finding yourself,
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be labeled just a one deal.
It's interesting. I get penalized for my podcast because they go, hey, you should only, you would do a lot better if you just interviewed country people, because then the country music fans would know where to come and listen and listen to people like yourself.
Yeah.
But then I want to talk to a reggae person, or I want to talk to a rockabilly guy, or, a rock person. So it's, and then I talk to an athlete, or then I talk to a business person. So, but I do what I do because it's what I want. I put out, just like you with your records, I put out on my podcast what I want to put out,
Yeah. Yeah. I've been, like I watched your deal with the USC coach.
Yeah. Lindsay.
And I really find your work. I like your work. I like your whole setup you got. Like it was really interesting. And I think I just stumbled across you on Instagram is how I came across you.
Yeah, and you wear cool boots. That's why. That's what I noticed.
Yeah. Hey, I'm all about them 10 holes, man. I used to wear a bunch of Tony Llamas, but them things got to hurt my feet so bad. I was in somewhere in Oklahoma now. It was almost into Texas. I can't remember, but they had 10 holes. And I tried them on. They were a little tight, and the guy stretched them out for me. And, man, after that, that's all I buy is 10 holes. And, I mean, I enjoy them. I was hoping them old boys one day would see me playing. They'd hook me up with a sponsor, But I really do. 10 hole, and it's the patched boots. That's the ones that get me.
We came out with some nice lace work ones you're going to have to check out.
I will. I got my kids them alligator boots. They got the little teeth on the side of them. Yeah.
Heck, I got a pair.
Yeah. I like them though. They're just really nice. Like the quality of them, the soles are what's the best. Like this, the whole quality of them. They're so nice. I can't speak highly enough about them. I'm just telling you.
I'm telling you, it took. I was there, but so I got started with the company. 10 Holes came out in 2010. And I got started with the company in 2010, and it took them years to perfect that sole, because if it was too plasticky, it got too hard, you would just slip.
Yeah.
If it was too rubbery, it would eat up and wear it out too fast. So they really had to play with the mixture of that sole to be just right, so it wears down a little better than a leather sole.
Yeah.
But it wears down, but not as fast. The nice thing is if it gets wet, they don't absorb water like those leather soles do.
I will say this, that first day I got them, I think about 2-3 days later, it rained.
Yeah.
And I was walking into this gas station, and man, I busted it in front of everybody. And I went and bought me some sandpaper, and I kind of sanded the bottoms of it. Man, perfect now.
Dude, I did that in Denver. I had a new pair of 10 Holes on. And it was like 7 degrees in Denver in January. And I was going to the rodeo, to the stock show. And I was going down it was black ice, man. I was ice skating down on them.
Yeah.
I was like, woo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Note to self. We now make that sole with a lug sole.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's got texturized like like a regular lug sole, but it's still clear. It's pretty cool.
Hey, the one thing though I do, them things are great for dancing, and you can take them old girls on the old dance floor and just spin around with them. Yeah.
That's so we sold a lot to dancers and bull riders. Bull riders like them because they want their foot to come out when in a hurry.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
So, and they like the crazy ones. So we always get the money signs and the playing cards. They sell really well in Vegas during the NFR.
Yeah. My favorite pair is I think they're called the Outlaw. They're the dark brown and light brown checker, and they got the pistols on the bottom of them.
Yeah.
I've had to go through 2 pairs of them so far. So they're my favorite pair by far.
We had a pair. We don't make it anymore, but we had a pair. It was all black, and it had a cutout of a skull and crossbone, and the skull and crossbone was white, but it was glow in the dark material. So like if it charged up during the day, and at night if you went out, you would have a skull and crossbone on your toe.
Oh man, that's pretty slick. They need to bring that back.
I keep telling them.
Yeah.
So that's literally why I recognize. Yeah, you're right. We were on Instagram, and I don't know what, and I just go. I'm like, oh, he's playing with 10 holes on his feet.
Yeah.
That's what stopped me. So you never know, man. You never know.
Dude, I know. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. That's life, though. I hope.
Yeah. So
I was gonna ask you. You got kids, right? So
yes, sir.
How do you balance working your day job, playing the music at night, recording, studios, and then obviously you still want to be a dad? So I mean, how do you balance all that?
I take them with me.
There you go.
And man, I just I don't know. I just make it work, I mean, like there's some times where, I'm gone for a few days, and they can't go with me. And so I tell them, I'll be back in a few days. And, but when I am home, we go to the creek, we go fishing, we set traps out for beavers, like we squirrel hunt, I make sure I do a lot of stuff with them when I am here. That way, their dad is there. I grew up without a dad. So my number one thing is I just want to make sure my kids know no matter what, I'm there, Well,
that's what we were talking about earlier. It's like they'll always have your music now too. I mean, that's outside of
they've seen
just being a good man.
They've seen me. Well, I say they seen me. They're 8 and 6, and when Conrad, he's my oldest, he was probably about 2. I gave up. Well, I shouldn't say gave up. I took a break from playing. Like, it's got to the point where I didn't want to be on the road anymore. It wasn't fun. It became a job, and I just hated it. And so, best thing I could do was to actually just be there for them and try to do what I needed to. And then probably about 2 years ago, I got that itch again to play. Yep. And, I've made the best of it that I can,
What are what do you think are the things holding back artists like yourself? I mean, A&R people don't really do much anymore because all they look for is, how many streams you have, how many followers do you have, what's your social media presence. But that's stuff you build up on your own anyway. So, I mean,
and my thing, I'm not big on social media. Like, I didn't have Instagram or I still don't have Facebook. I got a TikTok, but it's all from my manager, Lauren. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have what I got now, because I don't know. Ever since I've started playing music, it's always been like, I want people to enjoy me that have seen me. I don't want to feel like I've pushed myself out there without earning what I've gained.
I hear you.
So that's why I'm just not big on social media, and that probably is what kills me from actually getting ahead in the game. Maybe if I push myself more, but you know, Zach Brown band got found by Alan Jackson playing in this hole in the wall bar. And he liked their sound, and so that's how they got their start.
When?
I can't tell you when.
Before social media.
Yeah, before social media. Yeah. You know, he saw them in a bar
because they're good Georgia boys. Yeah, I mean,
you know, so I mean,
you're gonna get less and less of that. I mean, I just think the music industry's changed, man. I mean, you know, I remember artists used to make money on album sales. They ain't making money on album sales anymore. I mean, you make a couple coins on a download stream, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. You know, so most of them are still out having to hustle and tour. That's where they still make their money.
Yeah, I actually still carry CDs with me. I got I got them right here. You know, it's I really don't sell them. I pretty much give them away. This past weekend, I played this little bar on the outskirts of my hometown, and there were some elderly folks in there, you know, and they were really digging my sound, and they're like, I'm like, well, I'm on iTunes and Spotify. They didn't have that stuff, right?
Yeah.
I just happened to have CDs with me, and so I gave them all some CDs, you know. So, I mean, they're still like my drummer and I. We were laughing about it because he was like, I never would have thought you'd have ever got rid of them CDs. And I said, man, not everybody's up to date, you know. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I just laughed about it because he was dogging me, saying I'm never gonna get rid of them, and I gave them to him. You know?
Well, yeah, so they're still and now even like in Urban Outfitters and all that, they're a lot of the bigger bands, I guess, are re-releasing or releasing on albums. I mean, they're actually selling them on records, but not. I mean, you know, you're going to get 3 million downloads versus, you know, maybe 100,000 album sales now.
Yeah, I did. I saw that. I was at I was in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I just went into this vintage place and I saw a bunch of albums, and a lot of them were fairly new. Like there were some Garth Brooks albums there. There was Taylor Swift albums. And I was like, man, we're coming back to albums, you know? And
yeah.
It almost makes me want to get a record player just to listen to them albums again. Because I remember when I was a kid, my granddaddy, he had this old wooden record player. It had the small little 45s, and you had to put this like little yellow disc in there so it would fit or whatever, you know. And man, I would rock out to B.B. King and Elvis on that thing. I thought it was pretty lit. And then I learned if you scratched it real hard, it sounded like a rap song. So I ruined a bunch of his albums. But yeah.
Dude, I mean, I grew up on albums and 8 tracks, you know, so I'm older. So, you know, it was the same thing, but I mean, and it'll never go back to that though. I mean, you know, dude, we didn't know what bands looked like. So if you bought a Van Halen album, you didn't know what those guys looked like unless their one picture was on the back of the album, and you would open it up and you'd read all the lyrics. So you would listen to, and you would have to listen to the entire album. Because if you didn't want to keep getting up to go pick it up and move it over one little quarter inch to listen to the next song, you would just listen to it. So you would learn entire albums. So there's albums to today, Highway to Hell, AC/DC. I still have memorized because I listened to that. Van Halen too. You know, a lot of those albums, but you had to. Now it's like, I don't like the song. Boop, next song.
Yeah, you know, it's easy to skip something now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. And now I buy one song, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. You know, and that's it goes back to my songwriting. Like I'm not the best songwriter out there. I write songs that relate to my life, or I write songs that, you know, it tells a story, you know, and so not all of them are great, you know, and I know there's people are going to listen to a part of them like, I don't really like it, skip over it, you know, but it's got a good story behind it, you know. Every song has a good story behind it. It's just if that certain song touches you or not, you know.
Yeah, and you'll never know. Most of the people that, you know what I mean? I had a really surreal experience. So one of the first albums I bought was a Bob Marley album. And it wasn't one of his famous ones. It was called Rastaman Vibration. It had 2 really good songs on it that I liked. And 40 years later, I'm talking to Maxie Priest, who's a 4-time reggae artist, Grammy-nominated singer of the year, and we talked about that album. And because he was going through, he kind of was like you were. He took for different reasons, but he took a break from music. He just like, after 40 years, I didn't want to keep touring. I didn't want to keep doing all this. And he said something. He goes, "Do you think music is more about the beat now versus the lyrics?" And I said, "That's a good question, because if you have a good beat, it's going to sell, because it's just going to."
Yeah.
But I said there are certain songs. There's a Bob Marley song called "Who the Cap Fits," and that song what was I, 13, 14 maybe? When I got that album, I was like, I still remember that song 40 years later. And he started singing that song to me. He goes, "I remember that song too." I said, so the lyrics is what made that song.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, you'll never know. I know Bob Marley 40 years ago wasn't thinking, "Hey, I'm going to reach this white kid in San Diego."
Right.
It's going to affect him for his life.
That's I mean, that just like Leonard Skinner. Everybody knows "Freebird" or "Simple Man," right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs by them is now I went blank on the name, but the lyrics are like, "I can feel the concrete slowly creeping." Have you ever seen a she-gator protect her young? That's like one of my favorite songs by them, but it's not very popular.
Yep.
But I love the story that's in that song, And I think that's another thing too, since I write songs, like I don't really hear the music. The whole time I'm listening to a song, I'm listening to what they're singing about, because I want to what inspired that song, like what's the story, and that's what I listen to. And other people just jam out to music, and I'm like, oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know. I mean, and Ride the Lightning guy, he might be a one-hit wonder. Who knows? I mean, he's gonna have to capitalize on the success he's gotten from that. But
yeah,
he might go. I think that the negative is, I think the fame is really quick to get now, and it's also quick to go. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, who's the latest George Strait? Like Chris Stapleton's kind of current, but
And Cody Johnson, he's been doing it for a while, and he's pretty big now. I liked a lot of his older stuff before he got mainstream. Some of the guys though that never hit mainstream, like Cross Canadian Ragweed, they're probably one of the best, earliest Red Dirt band to ever hit, and they just never went mainstream. They just stayed true to themselves. Same with like Stoney LaRue. You don't hear him on mainstream music very often, but he's a great performer.
That's interesting though, huh? Because Tyler Childers, his song was in a TV show, I think, that got him some fame. And shoot, but I forget. It's like, because I remember hearing it, and then all of a sudden I heard it on God, what was this? It was a popular TV show that they used one of his songs on. So you never know where it's just going to drop in, and maybe it was on Yellowstone. It was in Yellowstone.
Oh yeah,
like
man.
This.
So what a lot of people, now I shouldn't say a lot of people, but Ryan Bingham is pretty big on Yellowstone, right? He's also an actor.
Yeah.
I've been listening to that man's music for years, and people have always been like, "Oh man, I don't like it." Now that he's on Yellowstone, then people are like, "I don't like it." They're like, "Oh man, Ryan Bingham's the best." I was like, "Well, just a couple years ago, you said you didn't like it. So what happened?" You know?
Exactly. No, I mean that's exactly right. But I mean, who knows?
I don't know, and like am I ever gonna get famous? I don't know. I don't want to be famous, to be honest with you. I just want my music to be heard. That's about it.
See, that's exactly how I feel about my podcast. I don't want me to become famous from it. I want people to listen to Beaux Jenkins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm the same way.
I know there's going to be people out there that don't like it, and there's going to be people out there that do like it. And that's just how music is. Like, it just, I don't know. It's a hit or miss, really. It's kind of like, what area are you in that music works in?
Yeah. Well, do you ever think about? And I ask this because I get it when I'm at work at the rodeo. Do you ever think about trying to go to different countries?
I'm scared to fly.
No, but I mean, at least pressuring, pushing, because like you can do uh, segregated advertising. Like you can say, "Hey, I want Australia to check me out," and and you can
Oh,
have that a post really
so
hit in Australia or England or Scotland or Canada.
so Lauren, now I don't know how she does it, but she can get on my Spotify and like it shows like
Where
where
it's
I'm
being
being
played.
played at, right? I'm being played in Argentina,
Yeah.
Spain, Australia, Great Britain. I even got a play in Afghanistan. Like I don't know how these people are finding me, but like it showed like that, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, So
Yeah. Well, i.e. Brazil, man. I mean, the bull riders from Brazil. Brazil has a huge agricultural and a lot of cowboys, and all the PBR bull riders are a lot of the champs are from Brazil because it's
yeah,
huge down there. And then Australia's got a really strong country music. I
yeah,
mean, Keith Urban, kind of same thing. But so I'm just curious if you ever thought about trying to push it out
yeah.
there.
I have. I guess it's branching out because like I don't know, like what's the best way to branch out? Like I mean, you got Instagram and all these other social media sites, but like it goes back to me saying I just don't like feeling like I push myself on people. Like
That's why you need others. That's what Lauren and other people are good for.
Yeah, that's I just like
like
I love being like center of attention, like jokingly, but man, I just don't like put myself out there. I guess it's like a while back. There was a couple people like, "Oh, you're real cocky," or and I was like, "Man," I was like, "I'm not cocky." I was like, "But if I don't believe in myself, how's anybody else going to believe in me?" So maybe it did come off a little arrogant or cocky when I was trying to tell them people about myself, but I was just being real with them. I wasn't trying and by no means do I think I'm anything great. Like I'm just capable. I'm thankful for what the Lord gave me in talents, and I'm able to share it with people, so that's like a big,
I know you don't like talking about it, and we're pretty far into the conversation. So if anyone's still listening, but you're related to Conway Twitty, right?
Yeah, it's my grandpa's first cousin.
So, but you don't want to use that. But that's where you need other people to use it for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, like.
So you're not bragging about it if I bring it up.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of and I think I don't know I don't know Conway Twitty at all, but I'm just saying it seems like he would be more of the outlaw country now of today.
Oh, for sure. You know?
So
for sure.
So I know you said that your music doesn't really translate. Like no one's going to listen to this and go, "Oh, that's Conway Twitty," But I think Conway Twitty would sound more like you than if he were singing today.
Right. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like I've had a lot of people ask me, they're like, "How come you don't play?" So, for instance, like when I'm playing at these bars or something, I play mainly my own stuff, and people are like, "Well, how come you don't play covers?" I'm like, "Well, I do play covers." I'm like, y'all just can't tell the difference between a cover to my original because you're not listening to the same people I am. And they're like, "Well, why don't you play what's on the radio?" And I'm like, "Man, be honest with you, I was like, I hate pop country." I was like, it's not
what you want to do.
Yeah, it's just not what I want to do. I've had several people message me on songs wanting to put soundtrack, or not a soundtrack, but like a beat to it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's not. I'm like, I just can't, man. I was like, and I've checked these people out, and they do really good jobs. Like their work is really good, but that's just not my style of music.
It's kind of like I got in trouble, a little bit of trouble. I put on my Facebook post. I said, as a Western clothing company, I guess we need to make more V-neck black T-shirts if we want to stay in the country industry.
Yeah.
So because that's what I'm like, dude. It's like you guys are all country singers, and you're wearing black V-neck T-shirts.
Yeah.
There ain't a Western apparel company that makes them. There ain't Wrangler, Ariat. We don't make that. So I'm like, I don't know. I kind of got in trouble for
I
that.
know. So sometimes when I play, I got some Scully shirts, right? From
Yeah.
they're bedazzled, they're embroidered and they got rhinestones on them, and people are like, man, welcome to the 80s, but
They're coming back, man. I'm telling you.
I dig them.
Hey, it's funny. I was in my store in San Diego, and I got a guest from it. He was in there shopping, and he was looking at a Scully type shirt, right?
Yeah.
I go, are you? He didn't look. He wasn't Western. And I go, what's this for? And he goes, well, I'm playing a gig tonight on the USS Midway. And I'm like, that's the big aircraft carrier in San Diego. I'm like, oh, that's like who do you play with? And
Yeah.
And he tells me, and I'm like, oh, so like you're like a real player. And so he was goes back. He was the original bass player of a little group called Rush.
Oh, really?
So in high school, he started the band Rush with his school classmate. He quit after the first gig. That's when because he played bass. That's when they hired Geddy Lee, the lead singer. But then he went on to play with Red Rider. So with Lunatic Fringe, and then Life is a Highway, Tom Cochran, who was the lead singer of Red Rider, right?
Yeah.
So here's a guy that's been in like real music for a long time, buying bedazzled shirts. So, and then I got him to be a guest on my show.
Yeah, man. If I could wear them every day, I would.
They're expensive.
No, man. I know. I was playing up in Granby, Colorado. This was about a year ago, I guess. Well, it was right before COVID hit. And I stopped off in Denver, and they had this old Western store in there, and they had a bunch of embroidered shirts, and there was this one that was got roses and flowers all over it, And I went up to the counter, and they didn't have no price tags on any of them. I was like, so I went up to the counter. I said, "How much is this?" And she was like, $225. I swallowed my pride and I bought that damn shirt because I
did. You really?
Yeah, I did. And I've only worn it one time. I'm afraid to wear it anywhere because if it gets tore up,
Is it a Scully? Or is it a
yeah,
Rockmont?
I think it is a Scully.
It's either a Scully or a Rockmont.
Yeah. Oh, it's so nice, but I've only worn it one time. It was for that show up there. That was it.
I will have to hook you up.
Yeah, man.
I'll send you some stuff.
All right, I appreciate that.
I got some Tin Hall ball caps. I'll send you for sure.
Oh, heck yeah, for sure. I'm really big into hats. I really like them cactus rope hats.
Yeah.
I was introduced to them when I was down in Texas playing, and I like the feels of them. Whiskey Bent, I like them too. I like the way they feel.
You're wearing that kind
some
of
them hats. I do have a couple Kimes Ranch hats. One of them sits too high though, like Elmer Fudd on me, so I don't wear it too often, But and that's another thing too is like I look at some of these like 18, 22-year-olds, and I'm like, man, y'all are rocking what my granddaddy used to wear, when he was just an old farmer. So it's weird how I guess styles make that loop. They always come back.
I'll tell you a cool story. About 3 years ago, we were getting asked by the stores. We're asking a lot of our sales reps for the old border print shirts. Do you remember? I mean, like the white on top and blue on the board, right? And the designers of our company are like, no way. Like, no way. Like, we did those in the 90s, early 90s, Garth Brooks, and no way are we doing those again. And what was happening was the kids, the high school and college rodeo kids who couldn't afford a $200 shirt, right? They were going to the thrift stores, and they were buying up the old Garth Brooks shirts, the border prints. And we did I think it was in the late 80s, early 90s, we did, Carmen, we did a Looney Tunes border print shirt, with Looney Tunes characters.
Yeah.
But So the kids were out buying these shirts at the thrift stores, Salvation Army and all that, because they could afford them. They're like $9 and all that. And then they became cool, and now they're mainstream again. And then they'll be uncool because kids won't want to wear them anymore now that they're not cool anymore.
I know, just like them bell bottoms. Like you see all these girls wearing bell bottoms again. You know,
they're huge.
Yeah,
that's from the 70s. I'm waiting for the my wife gets mad when I say this, but I don't know. The early 90s, a lot of girls were wearing below the hip, the lowrider jeans.
Oh yeah,
and they were low riding, and my wife's like, those better never come back.
Shoot, I've rocked a mullet for a long time. You know, I had a mullet in high school, and people called me white trash, but that was our football team, you know. And now everywhere you go, there's mullets, you know. So
we still have a picture of Blake's mullet in our warehouse when he signed one of the back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was a real mullet. That was a pretty mullet.
Yeah, it's just funny how
things come back.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, I'll never see that again, and then boom. I don't know, Jinko. You remember Jinko? Like all them skaters used to wear them, real baggy pants. I seen them are coming back. I've been seeing a bunch of kids wearing Jinko jeans, and I was like, huh. I didn't know they were still around.
Yeah, I mean, there was a shoe that we make, and it's called a Desert Sticker, and another company makes it. Clark makes a similar shoe, and they're about to get rid of it because it had been around since the 60s. It was kind of the hippie shoe, and then they're about to get rid of it. Sales were down, and some college kids made it cool again, and all of a sudden it trended, and now they're popular again.
Yeah, hey, you gotta make that money.
Well, yeah, man. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Hey, so what do you have coming up? What's the end of the year looking like? And then do you have anything planned out for 2022 yet?
I got a few local shows like in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Branson, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, my hometown, Harrison, Conway and Little Rock, and that'll probably finish my year. I'm actually, I don't know if I should say anything, but I'll go ahead. So I got an offer from SSM Records at Nashville, Tennessee, and I still got to go over all the fine line and paperwork with them, but I'll see what they want to do. They're really interested in my new album I just came out with, so cool. I don't know what's going to happen there. I'm kind of excited, so we'll see what happens.
How do you get Ride the Lightning became famous because it was used as a song behind another viral video, right? So how is your music on there? Have you figured out?
Yeah, I'm on. My music's on. So my music's on every platform.
Okay.
It's on TikTok. It's on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Like I said, I guess I should try to push it more than what I do. And I just, Lauren's been pushing it a lot. So I don't know, it's big around my hometown because everybody knows me, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, that's been my biggest downfall is I just don't push it enough. I don't have enough PR work to, I don't know, push it out there, I guess, you know. I'm just no hillbilly. It's like if I was going door to door, you know. So
yeah, sure. But now, I mean, yeah, it's interesting you said it because I know a couple of PR firms, especially a couple of Nashville, and that's literally all they do, and
yeah,
that's how they get PR. That's what it is.
Yeah, I know. I've had people email me, you know, saying, "Are you interested in this?" But there's always a price tag behind it, you know. And my feeling is, I'm like, well, man, if you want to push this for me, you should push it. Because if I went to somebody like, if you didn't know who I was and I wanted to play a gig at your bar, I can't tell you how many times I've played for free when I first started out.
Yeah.
just to be able to get my name out there, you know? I mean, so I don't know. Like I say, I don't know. It's hard for me to push myself. I should do better, but I just don't know how. I guess I'm humble. I guess I don't know.
Well, you know, it's interesting because a lot of my cowboy friends are like that, and they literally like Hunter Cure. He was my first guest on my show 3 years ago. We sponsored him, so I've known him. I see him every year, and his wife and his kids and all that. And he doesn't think of himself as a 2-time world champ because everybody he hangs out with are cowboy guys, they're rodeo guys. So it's no big deal, you know. When he goes to the rodeo, though, people stop him. Can I get your autograph? Can you sign this? Oh my God, it's so great to meet you. Oh my God, good luck tonight. Da, da, da. You know, but 99% of the other time of his life, he's just walking around a normal guy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't see, and Hunter's pretty good actually about it. There's some other guys, but they don't see themselves as a brand. Like Beaux Jenkins is a brand. There's the guy, the man, Beaux Jenkins, and then there's the brand of Beaux Jenkins. You know.
Yeah.
It's got, what was that? What was the George Strait movie? That Country Strong?
Oh yeah, country. Yeah.
You ever see? I mean, that's kind of how, you know, where the brand got out of whack. You know, and he forgot kind of where he came from, and then he went back and.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why, you know, I took a break, is because like, you know, I said it wasn't fun anymore. It became a job, and like, I thought I was bigger than what I really was, when I should have just stayed humbled and true and remember where I come from. Like, I'm kind of like well water. I started from the bottom, you know? So, and that's just how I need to remember things. Cause you know, my grandma was my biggest supporter, and she always told me, you know, don't forget who gave you this talent and like, you know, where you come from. And I did. Like, I always thought, oh, it's just me that made it this good, right? And shoot, if it wasn't for the good Lord, I wouldn't even be, you know. I'm just lucky he gave me another day.
Yeah. That's how you got to look at it too.
Yeah.
It sounds like you got it figured out, man. We're getting there.
Yeah, it's you know, it's a long road, and that's what I don't know. I guess that's just what, like, when I see these people, and look, I'm thankful, or not thankful, but I'm happy for these dudes who blow up overnight, you know, because like they're chasing that dream. It's just some people's dreams are harder to catch.
Well, and it could happen to you at any time too, right? I mean,
I mean, it could, yeah.
Right.
You know?
I mean, it's the lottery in that sense. You know, Ride the Lightning becomes a viral TikTok. If one of your songs becomes a viral TikTok, all of a sudden people are like, oh, that Beaux Jenkins, he's so good, and you're gonna be like, I wasn't that good 5 minutes ago. You know?
Yeah, I know that. That's my whole point. You know, it's man, y'all weren't checking me out then. You know, but no, I mean, I am thankful, and I'm, you know, like, I really appreciate you letting me come on and you know, talk and kind of tell my story a little bit. You know.
Well, that's what my show's about. You know, giving opportunities to. You know, it was funny. You hit me up and you're like, oh, you only talk to big people. I'm like, dude, you have no idea, bro. It's like, I've been so fortunate, so lucky. It's like, literally just, I've asked people and they said yes. And I'm like, wow. Okay. You know?
Yeah. Now I checked, like I said, you know, I follow you on Instagram and stuff. So I've checked quite a bit of the stuff you do. And, I was talking with Lauren, and she's like, you need to get somebody who has no idea who you are, and see if you can do some type of show or something with them. And I just happened to be talking to her, and I came across your page, and I was like, well, me and this guy right here, we've talked a little bit. And I was like, I'll just shoot him a message, see what happens.
Yeah. You know? Well, dude, and that's literally, I mean, so Smush Parker, who played for the Lakers, I used to watch on TV. He played with Kobe and Shaq. I think it was just after Shaq, but he's playing with Kobe Bryant, right? And I'm watching. He liked one of my posts on Instagram, and I literally DM'd him saying, "Is this really Smush Parker?" He's like, "Yeah, man." He was like my 12th guest. It's like, forget about it. And it just made me realize. Dude, I've reached out to a whole bunch of people, you know, and 90% of them, 99% of them say no or don't reply. But for the percent that say yes, I'm just like, wow, are you kidding me? And now I got some friends out of it. So it's like the people I would have never met.
Right. And that's another thing too. Like I've met some pretty big dudes, and I've connected with some of them, and then some of them I've been like, man, I don't ever want to be like that guy where you just
Yes, sir.
blow everybody off. You know what I'm saying? And so like I've been thankful for that music too, because I've got to open up for some people, and it's just at the same time, man, some dudes are, you would never even know they played music. I mean, they're just a old average Joe, and then some dudes are so flamboyant and just rude, because like you started off at the bottom,
Well, some didn't though. And I met a guy when I was 18, 19, country singer, and I wasn't really. It was kind of weird. Like I grew up in California, but I bought cowboy boots because I wanted to be different from all my friends. So I bought like a $90 pair of just leather boots. And I got invited to this country show because my friend knew the band, and we went backstage. Man, we were at the hotel with them, and we came over on the tour bus. And I won't say his name. I'll tell you off camera, but I was like, man, I don't even like listening to his music anymore. And he's huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I went to 2 of his concerts and never even saw him in person. And I was backstage, man. I was like,
yeah.
It's kind of crazy though, and that's it. And then there's other guys like Steve Stevens, who's the guitarist for Billy Idol, wrote all Rebel Yell, White Wedding, co-wrote all those songs, won the Grammy for the Top Gun theme song, played with Michael Jackson, is the coolest guy you could ever talk to. Like super humble, chill.
Yeah.
And yet he's been doing it for 40 years and it's super successful.
There's I won't say his name, but he's a state trooper here, and he used to play with Tom T. Hall, and he was Taylor Swift's road manager forever, right? And I've tried to talk to him a couple times, and man, he just won't give you the time of day for nothing, because I didn't even want him to try to hook me up. I just had like some small little questions to help me get on that right path, and wouldn't even give me the time of day. And I was like, man, that's all right, it is what it is.
And like I said, man, I interviewed Chris Gratton, who you've never heard of. And when you hit me up, it's like, he's not on social media. He's only on LinkedIn because of what he does. He's the tour manager for Justin Bieber. And he was the tour manager for Kanye West and Ariana Grande and all these big, huge names. So he got rid of all of his social media because people just kept hitting him up trying to get a hold of the artist.
Right.
And dude is super cool, super chill, laid back, and he's repping one of the biggest artists in the world.
Yeah.
But
that, and I get it too. Like, I know that's got to be that's got to drive people crazy, when people constantly hit you up, message you and stuff, and that's like I get a lot of messages. Some of them I respond back to. Some of them are just crazy. Like, I'm like, what are these people talking about? And, so, but it is what it is,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not famous by no means, but I do get some crazy messages sent to me. I'm just like, all right, I appreciate you.
Yeah, we all do. I after I interviewed Mickie James, the WWE wrestler, she's now the Impact wrestler. Dude, her fans are pretty serious.
Yeah.
How come you didn't ask her about this? How come you didn't say this to her? How come didn't you know that? How come you should have known that? No, I'm like, dude, I haven't watched WWE wrestling for 20 years. I'm not,
Right.
She has some serious fans though. So
yeah.
So I'm sure I'll get some from you too.
Dude, I don't know who's gonna know me.
I'll just advertise this really heavy in Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas.
Yeah, all right, then. That'll work.
There you go. Well, hey, brother, I'll definitely stay in touch with you, and I have to get your address to get you.
I think I might have lost you.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Okay. I'll definitely have to hook up with you afterwards and get your address and get you some gear out and all that.
No, I do. I appreciate you. I do. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So how do you want your people to follow you? What's the best way?
Well, I got Instagram. It's BEAUX _ Jenkins Music. And then I'm on Spotify and iTunes, you know, and every play helps. That's all I can really say, you know.
Yep. Do you want the play more than the dollar? Meaning, I go on iTunes, right?
Yeah.
Would you rather have your fans listen to Spotify and get more streams, or do you want them to buy the 69 cents or 99-cent song?
Man, I'd rather them just go to Spotify and listen, because I don't play music for the money. I play it because I enjoy it. You know, I do a lot of benefit shows, and you know, I don't even ask to get paid just because, like.
No, but I didn't know what, you know, I didn't know what helps you more, you know.
I don't know. I can't really answer that. Because I haven't seen a difference since I've been on either platform, you know, because like I got iTunes, and so instead I don't have to go in there and buy anybody's song. I can just download it and it'll go straight to my playlist. Now, if they getting a cut from that being played and not buying it, I don't know how that works, you know.
I don't either. But I mean, like, I just bought your album today. So, you know, sorry for the wait. And now you got Small Talk Town, right?
Yeah, that's my new single. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the bootleg sessions.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you went explicit on Small Talk Towns.
Yeah, there's two little foul words, you know. I didn't want to upset my grandma, you know. So.
Well, cool, man. Hey, I'll definitely have all the links to your Spotify, your iTunes, and your Instagram on my website. So if any of the listeners want to check you out, they can just go onto my website, go on your page, and they can just click on it and go right to them.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. You know, I really do. And I enjoy new people. And like, that's one of the biggest things for me in music has been is like the people I meet. And I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, but you know, a lot of people, people go to church to hear the sermons, you know, like you got a preacher at church that preaches the gospel. And, you know, I had this conversation with the guy. It's been probably about a month ago. And, you know, he's like, so what do you get out of playing? And I was like, man, to be honest with you, I said, I'm kind of like a barstool preacher. I said, I can't tell you how many times I've got done playing and like people will come up to me and be like, man, that song that really touched me, or like, man, you sung my life, you know? And so I was like, it's almost the same as like a Friday and Saturday night sermon to a Sunday sermon. I mean, I'm not preaching the gospel, but some of my music, you know, people are like, man, it gives me hope. Like I had this one guy
absolutely
thought about wanting to kill himself, right? And he just happened to come into that bar that night, and he listened to us play, and he was like, man, you really like changed my whole mood, you know? And so I really didn't know what to say, because he went into his whole life story, and it was really sad, but you know, I just told him, you know, I gave him my number. I said, if you ever need, call me and I'll talk to you, you know?
Yeah.
Because I mean, but I did kind of make me feel, I don't know if feeling good is the right word, but it was like, you know, it kind of gave me a reason to want to keep playing, you know, like, hey, it got to somebody.
It's a bigger purpose, man. I feel the exact same way. I mean, I'm not in the millions of downloads like Joe Rogan and this and that, you know, but man, and I've been, because I do the same thing. Like I can see where my show's been listened to, and all of a sudden I'm like Indonesia and Turks Caicos and, you know, Korea, and, you know, I'm like, why is someone in Korea? They're not listening to me. They're listening to my guest, you know, so.
Right.
You just never know who you're going to reach. And that's what we talked about beforehand. It's like, I always felt there's got to be something bigger. You know, I want to leave something bigger and better behind for my kids. My kids I have 180 episodes now that my daughters, when I pass, are going to be able to watch with their kids and say, hey, there's your grandpa. You know, he was talking to all these people and helping these people out.
Yeah. And that's what, I mean, that thing. Like you said, you know, like when I'm gone, my kids and grandkids will still be able to hear, you know, my music. The only thing that I do regret is my grandparents raised me, but I lost both of them before I really got into really playing big, you know, and my grandma never would come to a bar. She hated them. She was like, I'm not going to them devilish honky tonks, you know, and but I lost both of them before I actually got to play pretty good, size shows and stuff. And that's the only thing I guess I really regret about my whole music, because I wish I could have just, because my grandparents believed in me so much, I wish they could have just seen a little bit of where I am now,
Oh, yeah. I'm in the same boat. Both my parents passed away before I even started my podcast. So, yeah, they'd be, my mom would be bragging to everybody, Oh, my son talked to this famous person. My son talked, and I'd be like, Ma, don't tell nobody.
I totally understand and feel you right there. Yeah, because man, my grandma, she was a real big supporter, but boy, she hated my lifestyle.
Well,
hated.
Your lifestyle a couple of years ago wasn't quite what it is now, right?
No. I ain't drank. I used to be a real bad alcoholic, but I haven't drank in probably I want to say about 6 years now, 5 or 6 years, just somewhere up there. But I'm a way better person than what I used to be.
I think that's the part your grandma would be proud of.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because out of all them switching, hey, now listen, in Arkansas, we still get switches. Hey, I'd have to go outside and pick that thing off the tree myself.
The belt whoopings weren't exclusive to Arkansas.
Well, she hit you with everything she had.
My dad's from Ohio originally, so I got the Midwest whooping.
Oh yeah, man, yeah. That was when I kid, my kids. We'll go somewhere, my buddies will have a cookout or something. We'll go to like a family reunion, and sometimes my kids will act up, and I said, man, don't maybe get a switch, boys. And then they quit, they're back to how they're supposed to be. Yeah.
So. I only got one really hard whooping from my dad when I was young, and I deserved it. Yeah, I was a stupid kid, and that was it. Literally, like my mom would just say, enough. I'd be, yeah. I'm gonna tell your dad. Oh, man. All right. Time to back down.
I'll tell you this one stupid story. And so my grandma, she come from, well, both my grandparents come from Eastern Arkansas. It's just as poor as it can be, and they grew up picking cotton and soybeans. And so my grandma didn't take very much.
Yeah.
And I was about 17 years old, and there was a party after this football game. And I said, hey, I'm going to go to this party. And she said, no, you ain't. I said, yeah, I am. I said, I'm almost 18. I said, you ain't going to tell me what to do no more, old lady. She jumped up out of that recliner. I swear to you, she hit me as hard as she could in the jaw. And I changed my whole life perspective right there, because I realized my grandma wasn't going to take no guff, But I do miss that. I miss that old lady. She was so mean to me, but I sure do miss her.
I was like my dad. I remember I was about 16, 17, and I was smarting off to my dad jokingly. I was on the phone with my friend, and back in the day we had the cord, so I couldn't just walk around. I was in the kitchen, and I was smarting off, and I said, "Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I can almost take my old man," jokingly. And my dad goes,
"Yeah."
My dad came over and goes, "I'm going to give you one shot." He hit me right in the shoulder, dropped me to the ground. And I was playing football. I was like wrestling football. He dropped me to the ground. I'm like, man, I guess I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guess I'm not quite there yet. I was still afraid of him when he was in his 60s. He got in his 70s. I was like, I could probably take him now.
Yeah, I got you now.
Maybe. It'd be close.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Hey, again, thanks so much for the time, bro. I appreciate it. I'll get this out next week, so it'll be fun.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you, sir.
No, and we will definitely stay in touch.
All righty.
If we can ever get you on a plane, we'll get you out to NFR, get to the rodeo.
Hey, I'll drive. I'm afraid. I drive all the way. Sometimes I play in Carlsbad, New Mexico, and I drive. I ain't flying. I'll drive, though.
Wait, how are you going to get big if you can't fly, man?
Same way Johnny Cash and Elvis and them did. I'll just drive,
That's a long time ago, my friend.
Hey, listen, this is my fear. Out of all the musicians that have passed away in plane crashes and stuff,
a bunch, yeah.
It just scares me, I don't want that statistic to land on me, so I'll just drive.
All right.
So
you got Troy Gentry, you got Buddy Holly.
I know.
I mean, Leonard Skinner,
if it wasn't for the Big Bopper being sick, Waylon Jennings would have died that day.
Yeah. And it's weird to think about that stuff like that, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, then you wouldn't. I mean, think of the amount of music that Waylon Jennings created after that, and then you think, well, what if Buddy Holly would have survived, or Richie Valens, or you know?
Oh, exactly.
You know,
I mean,
that's crazy.
them guys, Richie. Now I don't know much about Buddy Holly. Like I never did a lot of, you know, wasn't really big into him. But like Richie Valens, like he was like right in his prime. You know, he had them.
You know how old he was?
I think he put out 2 albums right before that. And
you know how old Richie Valens was when he died?
20 years old, wasn't he?
No, sir. I'm going to look it
How
up just so I can be accurate. I want to be exactly accurate. I believe he was 18. Excuse me, he was 17 when he died.
Oh, dang.
He was 17 years old.
I thought it was 20, but yeah, still, I mean, that's there's no telling what he would have done, you know?
That's a high school kid, you know? I mean, that's literally a high school. He was literally in high school.
Yeah.
You know? And Buddy Holly was, I think Buddy Holly was 22, 23. He's young.
Yeah. That's why I thought they were all in their 20s, but I didn't know he was that young. Dang. I mean, he wasn't even 18, couldn't even drink a beer yet.
Not even a beer, exactly.
Yeah.
He was 3 months away from turning 18.
Dang, that's so sad.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, the Big Bopper, he was older. He was 28. 28.
And you know, and I talk now, you know, I mean, I would like to have gone back to like them times and seen what the music scene was like compared to like, you know, 2005 to 2010 when I was first starting to play. And then like nowadays it's so easy, but I want to know what the grind was like back then, you know? I mean, because shoot, Sun Records in Memphis, I mean, you could go in there and cut a deal, and if it was good, they'd pick you up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you got Carl Perkins, you got, I mean,
Jerry Lee Lewis,
Roy Orbison. I mean,
oh yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to I look at Motown the same way, right? I mean, you know, back in that day when Motown got started, and one of the guests I would love to have on my show, one of my unicorns, would be Smokey Robinson, to talk about what it was like. I mean, he couldn't tour in the South, you know,
Yeah.
and when you did, you had to be careful. So, you know, and now it's worldwide, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
rap artists can go anywhere in the world. But back in that day, you couldn't do it. You couldn't even tour. You couldn't go to restaurants. You couldn't go in certain places.
I know, it's terrible. But
Yeah.
I mean, at least we don't have to worry about that nowadays, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So just to see how much better it's gotten in that sense. Whoa.
Yeah.
My lighting's getting weird. So, all right, my friend. Hey, we'll have to talk again after you get your New Artist of the Year awards.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, brother. Hey, again, thanks for the time, man, and we'll chat soon.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Bo. Have a good night, bro.
I too. Bye.